Welcome back, everyone. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you're leaving your comments below, you subscribing and clicking the bell notification button. And what a treat we've got to you today. We're joined by one of the best content creators on the planet right now. Timbsy, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit starstruck. I've seen a lot.
No,
I'm
shut up.
being serious. I mean, you've interviewed a lot of great people, very good at what you do. And I saw this opportunity. Would you like to speak to him? Yes, absolutely.
No,
So thank you very much for coming on.
no, thank you so much for having me, man. Honestly, thank you.
And you're busy at the minute, lots going on. Like you're here, there, and everywhere. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know the deal, especially at this time of the season as well. It's quite busy. So a lot of shoots recently, and a few more to go. And then once the season's wrapped up, I have a little break, and then straight back on it.
absolutely, of course, just so everyone knows, you are a gooner. That's right.
I am a good. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing in this room. I don't know.
It's a thing for we're the football terrace. We cover all the top 6 teams and
Okay.
everything else. But how are you kind of feeling after Monday?
Yeah, it's a shame. Like it's look, I love what's going on at Arsenal. Generally speaking, like I like the fact that Arteta's there. I think anyway the progress that we've made over the last season or so. It was just a shame to kind of seemingly go out like that. You never know last game of the season, but yeah, it was a tough one to take, especially because I mean obviously I know a few of the boys as well, and I'm close to them, and it was just. It's sort of like it's your team as well, but also it's your mates, and you just want them to do well. So it was a bit of a shame, but look, we'll be back, and there's always next year anyway. So
Yeah, in terms of you kind of alluded on it there. In terms of Arsenal season, there is such a divide in the Arsenal fan base. You get a lot that think that there has been no progression. You think there's some that think there's been maybe more than there is. But you kind of feel like Arsenal are in the right hands under Mikel Arteta and the sort of the young squad that they're building.
yeah, I do like. I think, especially when it comes to Arsenal, I think a lot of people love it. It is quite the fan base is quite divided anyway because people are so passionate about the club. Like people forget it is a massive, massive club. So obviously we have so many fans with so many different opinions. But on the whole, yeah, I am happy. Like it got to a point obviously the season before where we weren't in good form and we were we still had that old guard playing. Nothing was seemingly going right, and then it was sort of like we went back to basics and brought the youth in. And then even if the form didn't turn around, it did, luckily. But even if it didn't, there was still something there that like fans could latch onto, which was, like what every club wants is that their youth to come through. And it means that little bit more to the fans. You want to see them do well. And you get, I think as a manager as well, and as a team, you give yourself a bit more breathing room because you have these young players playing. And they obviously need time to bed in. They need to find form. They need to, connect with each other. And luckily, we saw that, and I think anyway we've seen a lot of progress. And maybe the expectations are a little bit too high at the moment for the squad we have, which is so young. I think on average we've had the youngest squad the whole season. So to really be expecting top 4. And to finish in those places which we did, years and years ago with a proper experienced team is a tough ask. But I know I'm not all Arsenal fans. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will disagree. But I've always felt like I'm a patient person, and I'm a patient Arsenal fan. So like I just want the long game. Like as long as we're building, that's all that matters.
Listen, I think that it's everyone's part of the mantra here at the Football Terrace is we preach this in the footballing context. No echo chambers. Like we don't just want all Arsenal fans to think and feel the same thing. You're a creator like myself, and there's a varying opinions from Arsenal fans on Arsenal, and that's the beauty of the game. Like we grew up watching it, and you go to school on the Monday or you go to work on the Monday, and everyone's got a different view and opinion. And I think it's important to kind of share that and push that out there. And there's certainly a lot of excitement at Arsenal that you've got players like Bukayo Saka as an example, Emil Smith-Rowe, so talented.
Yeah.
What do you think are the 3 most important things for Arsenal and Arteta to address in the summer to kind of go to that next level?
I think I say rebuilding, but building is very, very important. Like there's still maybe a few players in the squad that he maybe like needs to get rid of or put to the side just to really build out the team that we know he wants and to really be able to play the football he wants to play. So I think it was quite clear, especially over the last few weeks. Like it's just we've got very tired legs. We've got a few injuries as well, and it's such a young squad. It's such a big ask to rely on these young players and not really have that much backup. So you've seen with all the successful sides, I mean, obviously you've got the title runners, you've got the Man City and Liverpool, how big their squads are, how strong they are, and Chelsea as well. So now to be able to compete in the Premier League, like the money that's in the league, the strength of everyone else, you need effectively like 2 squads to be able to compete on all fronts. Like every Arsenal fan wants us back in the Champions League. We want to be competing in Europe and for the Premier League. Obviously, it seems like that's a few years away anyway. But to be able to do that, you just need to build. You need to get more players that you can rotate with. So I'd say like at the moment, at our best, we are a top 4 side when we have our kind of best 11 on the pitch. But outside of our, strongest 13, there is a drop off. Whereas you compare it to someone like, for example, Man City or Liverpool, and it seems like they can just rotate 2 squads, and the structure's so set because they've been playing with each other for a long time that they can do that, and they have the players to do that. Whereas we're finding our feet in a lot of ways in our football philosophy, in the structure that we have, and it's not. 1, we don't have the players to swap in and out, and 2, it's hard for those players who do come in to still, gel and understand the structure and what we want to do compared to City and Liverpool, for example. So I would just say the main thing is building, getting the right players in. That's obviously going to be hard if we don't get Champions League, but it's just getting those right players in to make the starting 11 like compete. And that they know, for example, I love Bukayo Saka, but I want him to be scared that someone's going to take his place because I love him. He's an amazing player, but equally he needs to have that drive as well. Because otherwise, as a 21-year-old or however old he is, he knows he's the first name on the team sheet, which is amazing, but it shouldn't be that way. There should be competition, and there should be an extra drive there for the players. So obviously, there's a few different things that need to happen over the summer as well, but I feel like the main thing is just getting the right players in and keeping on building and giving ourselves the best chance possible for next season to really push on and hopefully get back in the top 4.
I think what you said there about competition for places is key, and you've got so many talented youngsters. And I think back to, I'm a Manchester United fan. I think back to the class of '92. That was, I saw that come through when I was a kid.
Yeah,
it was surrounded by Andy Coles and Eric Cantonars and Roy Keanes and Peter Schmeichels. And I think that's, if I was a Gooner, I'd be begging my club to go out there and sign some elder statesmen that maybe in the short term keep Emil Smith-Rowe and Martinelli on the bench for a while those players continue to develop. And I think if they get that right, there is the potential to move on to that next level. There's no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Like, I think with the kind of core group of players that we have and that Mikel's recruited over the last year, the new group like Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale, there is a really, really good young core there that I think any club would love at the moment to build with. But it's the fact that they've already got a team ready and they've got a brilliant mix of older players and young talented players, where the onus isn't on the young players there to win them the game, whereas for us it is. And it's testament to them, to be fair. It's testament to Emil and Bukayo and everyone that they've actually been able to do that for long enough for us to be in this top 4 fight. But that just shouldn't really be what a club of our stature is doing and does. So I think you're right. For next season, we do need more bodies, a few older heads, and just give the young guys a break because they've played. I don't even know how many games Bukayo Saka's played this season. It must be 40, something like that.
Well, it's a ridiculous amount. I couldn't agree with you more. And it's just getting that right and everything else. And it's going to be, look, it's been an amazing season. Still goes down to that final day. Praying. Praying. I hear you on that. It's going to be exciting going through the summer and into next year as well. And look, we'll talk a little bit more football in a bit. Viewers, make sure you're leaving your comments below and hitting that like and that share button. Always. It's important. It's very important. People watch a lot of it on TV now. It's hard to hit the like button. So get on your phones, get it done. In terms of yourself at the minute, one of the reasons we're speaking today is about a really important program that you're working on at the minute. And I'd like to sort of know a little bit more about it and share it with our audience to sort of bring it to life for them, really.
Yeah, for sure. So YouTube Reframe. So it's an educational initiative with YouTube to basically just help people with their lives online. So especially the younger generation, they're so native to life online now. We spend so much more time of our lives online, and it's just there to help, guide them and help give them information if they need, just to be safer and live a better life online. Like, I know obviously we grew up without it and learnt as we went along what the internet was, how to behave online. We had to kind of make the mistakes to then learn from them. Whereas these guys are on it from when they're no age. So I think it's maybe a bit tougher for them because they're just immediately exposed to it. Whereas we had a bit more time, or maybe a bit older.
Firstly, how old do you think I am?
Hey, I would say you're no older than me, so I'd say 30.
I'm 36, but you are right. Now I'm about that age. I hear you completely. I think it's a great program. I kind of introduced to it by the conversations, surrounding this conversation we're having. And I think it's very important because young people seem to have this, it's almost like they feel like it is a safe place, and the internet's great for so many things, and it's changed my life. I was working in the banking industry until I started making YouTube videos, and now I'm very privileged and fortunate to do this as a job.
For sure.
But at the same time, I know it's the internet and I know people can see it. I feel like the younger generation sometimes say and do things and they don't realize the footprint they're leaving behind that in 10 years' time could come back to haunt them. And I think that learning skills and how to operate in the right way is very crucial.
It is. And I think YouTube, a platform like YouTube, right? Like, so many more kids, like when we were younger, we were just watching TV and that was it. Like, just at the very start of the internet, there was a few other platforms, but it was just messaging, and there was nowhere near as much interactivity and connection as there is now. So a platform now like YouTube is bigger than TV. So you have these people, they're spending more time online, more time watching YouTube than they are, outside or watching TV. So this is their platform now, and a website and a company as big as YouTube doesn't have to do this, but it's obviously testament to them that they brought it upon themselves to help educate people, because they know how important it is to be safe online, and they know, as good as the internet is as well, the pitfalls of it and how vulnerable young people can be, and how important it is to stay safe online and to be educated on loads of different matters. So when obviously YouTube approached me to be a part of this campaign, and seeing the other people who are involved in it as well, who are my close friends, it was honestly like a great honor to be involved.
Absolutely, I can imagine. And what we'll do is that all the information for this we'll sort of put into the description below, so people can take a look and check it out for themselves, and everything else that's on that. In terms of yourself, I mean, your career is going from strength to strength. Involved in sort of helping the sort of next generation of online users along. Was it your kind of aim to get into the presenting, content creating world? Did you kind of fall upon it? Was it a dream? Like, how did this all kind of come about for you, mate?
It wasn't exactly what I'm doing now. Wasn't really a dream, just because I didn't even think it was like possible. When we were growing up, a job like this literally didn't exist. Now I think it's amazing that people can grow up and they look at YouTubers, for example, and they look at presenters online and they think, that's what I want to do. Like, that's actually a career I can do. Whereas before, with us, we just thought, right, TV, radio, if you want to get into broadcast journalism or anything like that. And that was it. So from the beginning, I obviously I love football like you. I love football, grew up playing it, grew up watching it. And I just thought, you know what, it would be amazing if I could be involved in it somehow, commentate on radio, or when we were younger, it was like looking at Sky Sports News. That was the job,
Yeah.
And so I had an idea, and I kind of had an eye on that, and then I didn't really know how to go about achieving that or doing that. But then obviously, doing my studies, going to uni, and I just did languages, which I didn't realize, but that's helped me so much in my career.
I've heard you speak a number of languages. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. Well, French and Spanish fluently, and then Portuguese enough to do a little interview. But like that, for example, like I had no idea what I really wanted to do.
Of course.
But then, I was lucky enough that I could kind of be patient and look for, an internship, or look for any sort of like work experience at something football. And then obviously, Copper 90, which is a big YouTube channel,
yes,
came along, and there was an internship there. So I applied, luckily I got it, and then did that for a few months, just, social media content creation, basically. So looking after Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and just, doing these little cool jobs. Did well enough at that they kept me on, and then luckily got introduced on camera like by my friends Poet and Food as well, who are big internet personalities as well. And then just went from there, and then after a while, blink of an eye, that was what I was doing pretty much all the time for Copper. I was like a full-time presenter, and then that's when you're just doing it, and then you realize like, oh wait, this is actually my job now. It's weird to think, but then I was effectively I was a presenter. I was online. I was presenting shows and stuff, and then it's just gone from there really. So did that for a good few years, and then I went freelance, so then I could just spread my wings and try other things and work for different people, and that's where I'm at now really. So I had an eye on it from the beginning, but equally it was more just I sort of just learned by doing. I just kept on doing stuff. I was enjoying it. And then it's fallen into place that this is now what I'm doing, full time, and I'm very lucky that I really do enjoy it.
I totally get where you're coming from in the sense of, when you first started working in this industry, these jobs still didn't really exist. It's kind of been forged at that same time. And you mentioned Food and Poet, who for me, people like that. You've obviously got Don Robbie from AFTV, True Judy, the gents over there at Redmen TV, very much like pioneers of this industry. From a footballing point, of course, YouTube has existed before them, but from a football standpoint, they really kind of grabbed the ball by the horns. And then there was the next generation that came through, including the likes of sort of Mark Goldbridge and yourself. You got, I know someone I've seen on your channel, like Harry Pinero and the like. Just again, not strictly just football, but have that connection to it. And it's, as you say, there's now kids, and I'm sure youngsters and children and people coming through that are going to get involved in Reframe. They see it as the career I want, like the kind of pathway is there now. They know what to do because of people like yourself. So it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, that is the amazing thing. That's the beauty of making stuff online and being a YouTube creator, is that you're not tied to one thing. Like, obviously a lot of us do football content, but equally we're involved in lifestyle. We do other shows and other presenting gigs. And this is the beauty, is that when we started, there was no one to work off really. There were no, as you said, people before us. Like, we were creating the first of its kind. We were the ones who were like creating the very first shows online and just figuring it out as we went along. Whereas now it's obviously amazing to see that there are so many examples for kids to see, and so many good examples as well. Obviously, there are other avenues that people could go and that maybe not be quite right, but for the most part, the people who are very successful and that make really, really good, valuable content are there now for kids to see and to be able to emulate and use as inspiration to pursue whatever career they want to do. But obviously, for me and a lot of us, it's mostly football. So that's been the best thing for me, I think, is like literally learning from the ground up. Building what is a whole business now, which is football content online, especially on YouTube. Is that we didn't think about when we were doing it, but we were all helping build this business, which now has just taken on a life of its own, and now anyone can get involved, which is amazing to see, and obviously a privilege to be a part of.
But yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and I feel very honoured to be part of it in my own little way. And one of the things we do on the Terrace is we have our viewers call into our shows almost daily, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, and that's why I think this program of Reframe really sort of stood out to me, because a lot of them want to get into the amount of people that phoned into my shows and become regular panelists that now have their own YouTube channel. Some of them that are doing huge things away from YouTube now, working for all manner of companies. It's an inspiring thing to see. So I think a program like Reframe just helping people develop skills, nurture things, how to handle it is going to be key, because it can be a shock, especially if it's someone who's quite popular and suddenly a lot of people are interested in what you say. Just handling, because it's not always positive. And
no, of course.
At 36, I can really take it, even though I have my moments. But I think when you're 15 and maybe you get a comment like that, it can be very different.
It is a shock, and that's why I think it's often these things are kind of overlooked. Like, you see the content and stuff that comes out online, and people who've blown up and people who've been a success, and you see what they're doing and you think, they're great. Like, they're happy. They're an example. But equally, like, there's there's so many unpredictable things that can happen with the internet that's why I think that's why doing the YouTube Reframe show, for example, was really important, just because you need to let people know of how many, even just in football, there are so many areas that you need to be careful, and especially with creators like ourselves. It's weird to think, and I never really think about it, but we are examples to a lot of young people, because they're watching your stuff, they're watching loads of other stuff on YouTube, and that you need to kind of be a responsible creator, because they're learning from you. They're looking at you the same way that we back in the day used to watch Soccer AM or look at Gary Lineker. So
yeah,
effectively a lot of the creators now are those sorts of people for the younger generation. So it's good that YouTube Reframe, they've given a platform and to people like us to be able to use the knowledge that we've gained over the last few years to help younger people, and in all breadth of manners. So it's for example, the show I did, the episode I did was on stereotypes, and how, for example, those sorts of assumptions can be damaging, and how to kind of avoid being caught out in that way. But equally, Chunks, he did conspiracy theories and stuff. So it was nice for them to get a whole host of people from different backgrounds and different sorts of, worlds and businesses, to be able to use their knowledge to help educate people in a lot of ways.
No, that makes perfect sense. And as I say, we'll put some links and some details in the description below. So viewers, go and check that out, especially you budding kind of presenters and content creators. Go and have a look. But before we end, I wanted to go back to football. Big game this weekend. Next weekend, Champions League final.
Yes.
Who's winning? Who do you think is it? Liverpool or Real Madrid? What you saying?
I don't know, because my head says Liverpool, right? Because I just think overall if they turn up, that they are a better side, I think.
Yeah.
But I've been lucky enough, obviously through the work that we do, I've been lucky enough to go to a few Champions League finals. They're always there and they always win. And so that's taught me not to go against them. So as much as I think Liverpool will win, I don't know why, but I'm just going to go with Madrid, like a 2-1 win.
I mean, their run to this final is
it's insane. It reminds me, for example, everyone I think, right, people know then they aren't the best team in Europe. Liverpool and Man City, for example, I'd say are better sides. But it reminds me of Chelsea in 2012 when they won the Champions League, and how they clearly weren't the best side in Europe. But every round, they kept on winning. And it just reminds me of that, the way Benzema showed up. I just think it's sort of, as Gary Neville says, written in the stars. I just feel like it's their year again. So I say this, Liverpool going to win bloody 6-1 next week.
Yeah.
But I just think, history's taught me I just got to go with Real Madrid. So I'll go 2-1 Real Madrid.
I think I totally get where you're coming from. I'm someone, I don't like these kind of what I call prerequisite predictions. These, it's going to happen. Liverpool are the better team, therefore they're going to win. It's a prerequisite. It's not even a conversation. It's not debatable. It's what it reminds me of David Brent every time I say this, but it's a foregone conclusion. I just, when people do, I know Liverpool are the favourites, and I'm predicting them to win, but I don't like this notion of there's no way to do it. It's weird to me. It's very strange to me. So there's always that chance. And with Benzema, with one thing that I think could change the game for Madrid, see what the score is when Camavinga comes on, because he's from the bench every game.
Game changer, mate.
He's
game changer. What a player. I love him. And he's so young as well. So I think, look, you're a United fan as well, so I think we'll both be cheering on.
Yes. I don't buy into this notion of supporting the other English teams. I can't do it.
The thing is, you've got more of a reason to than me. Obviously, your old rival, so I understand. I actually like this Liverpool side. I think they're super likable. They're unbelievable team. They play great football. Klopp is such a good manager. But then there's something inside of me which is just please don't win. So I can't really tell. That's why I feel like maybe my head is going Liverpool, but my heart is probably going Real Madrid.
I'm the same. I'm not
Yeah.
on the fence. I'm exactly the same. I think Liverpool will do it, but I want Real Madrid to and get over the line. And one of the questions that's kind of debates. I thought a number of articles about this in the last week since the FA Cup victory for Klopp. That Klopp's now the second greatest Premier League manager of all time, above Wenger, above Pep, above Jose Mourinho. As a gooner, do you agree with that?
It would be sacrilege of me to say yes. The thing is, I would say I would just dissect your question a little bit. So, is he the second greatest Premier League manager ever? No, because he's only won one Premier League, right? But outside of that, as a manager, I think he could claim to be, for example, the second or third best manager England has seen. So, like in the Premier League, if it's contained to the league, then I think you just purely have to just go on like league wins.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of Premier League era of football, you would say maybe yes. Yeah. I get you.
But he is an incredible manager, and I do think, like, look, Arsene Wenger's my dad. I love him. Like he's everyone's. he's God to us, right? But I just feel, Klopp, with how good the team he inherited to what their team is like now and how they have been for the last 4 years now, which is like unbelievably consistent, especially in the climate which we are, which is so money dominated. And obviously they've spent a bit of money, but they've been able to build a side that's been able to compete on all fronts every year pretty much, is incredible. So he's obviously he's an unbelievable manager. And I think, look, when all's said and done, after his career, I think he will have surpassed Arsene Wenger as I think more people than not will agree that he surpassed Arsene Wenger as a manager in terms of his achievements and what he's been able to do.
Yeah, it's the Champions League, and if he wins this game against Real Madrid, it's having 2 of them. And then when you look at Premier League era, he's already equaled Fergie's Champions League total. Of course, Fergie has those 13 Premier League titles, FA Cups, League Cups, and everything else, and 25 years of keeping a team at the top. But yeah, listen, I think Jurgen Klopp is I hate saying it as a Man United fan, but I have to. He's a special character. You can feel it's almost hard to dislike him because he's got such charisma. He's such a, I'm from a working class background, and you can tell he supports the working class nature of this country, which I think is an important part of football that should never be forgotten. As we see ticket prices hike up and season tickets become, extortionate, it's good to see kind of managers sort of fighting for the fans at points as well. So it's a tough one, but I think he's certainly on his way. But then equally, that you can throw a cat amongst the pigeons. If Pep wins the Champions League next year with the league titles he's won, suddenly he's there as well.
Yeah, he's there as well. Yeah, but the thing is important. I'm a bit torn with him though, because like, look, I love him. I think he's one of the best managers ever, right? Clearly. But then the people who hold the fact that he's not won a Champions League with Man City over his head, right? Fair. Like they maybe could and should have won one Champions League by now, and maybe this year was their year, right? But to think he's not one of the best managers ever, I think is crazy talk, because he's dominated the Premier League in the last few years, right? When the Premier League has been so competitive, and obviously they've got lots of money, they've spent lots of money, but put any other manager there and give them unlimited money to spend, and like I guarantee they wouldn't win all the Premier Leagues that they've won. Like maybe Klopp. But then outside of that, I'm thinking like to even maintain their standards and improve year on year almost as to what they have done, I think is so impressive. So I don't subscribe to that view that, he's not world class, he hasn't won a Champions League. Like he'll probably win one eventually, but even then he's won one already, and he's just I love him.
Well, I look at it this way. I think he's already in the conversation with greatest managers of all time across football, no doubt. I think in the Premier League he's been phenomenal. The only thing I throw in there is I don't class this City team as a great team until they win the Champions League. Only based, I'm talking across all levels.
Yeah.
Because when you think of the greatest teams in history, whether it's the great Ajaxes, AC Milan's, Man United, Liverpool's, Madrid's, Barca's, Bayern Munich's, they all had that domestic dominance with the European trophies as well. And I agree. I kind of like these. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I kind of like those thresholds to remain in place, but I equally agree with you. People that start calling him a fraud It's like
Yeah.
this guy's about to pick up his 4th Premier League in 5 years. He
Exactly.
won the League Cup for like 600 years on the bounce. Like,
Exactly.
give the guy some credit. It's
Yeah.
but that's social media for you, as you know. It's people
Exactly.
love a polarizing opinion. They really, really do. But
Exactly.
absolute pleasure to chat with you. It really has been.
No, honestly, mate, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. And of course, the main theme of today was Reframe. All the information is inside the description below, people. Also, the link to your YouTube channel is down there as well. So go check it out. Great interviews up on there from the past. Some brilliant people you've spoken to as well.
More coming. More coming.
More on the way. Good.
Exactly. I'm actually luckily again. I'm working at the Champions League next week, and I've got a tea with Timbsy there that means a lot to me. I'm not going to reveal too much, but it means a lot to me. And I've got a few more coming as well.
Means a lot to you. I'm thinking Thierry Henry. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, no, if it was Thierry Henry, I would. Honestly, I'm not coming home. I'm just with the fairies.
Marry me, Thierry. Marry me. Yeah,
it's almost Thierry level. So
wow, I'll be looking forward to seeing that. I really will. Hit the like and share button, people. Leave your comments below. And until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.